My name is Timothy, and I've been a search and rescue volunteer in the Colorado Rockies for 8 years now. I've seen injuries, near deaths, and panic attacks on the mountain, but nothing prepared me for what I found on the Whispering Trail in September of 2019. This is something I've never told anyone outside my team, and even they think I'm crazy. But I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And I'll never forget the way that little girl smiled at me before she vanished into the trees. It started on a Friday evening when we got the call about a missing hiker, a 47-year-old man named David Kowalski, who'd gone up the Whispering Trail alone that morning and never came back down. His wife reported him missing when he didn't show up for dinner. Standard protocol. We assembled a team of 6, grabbed our gear, and headed up the mountain just as the sun was starting to dip below the horizon. The Whispering Trail isn't actually called that officially. It's Trail 47 on the maps, but locals have called it the Whispering Trail for decades because of the way the wind moves through the narrow canyon walls. It creates this sound, like voices, soft, distant conversations that seem to follow you as you hike. Most people find it unsettling. I'd always found it kind of peaceful, actually, until that night. We split into pairs and started our grid search. I was partnered with Jake, a veteran ranger who'd been doing this for 15 years. We took the northern route, calling out David's name every few minutes, our flashlights cutting through the darkness between the pines. The temperature was dropping fast. It was already in the low 40s and heading for freezing. About an hour in, Jake stopped suddenly. You hear that? I listened. Just the wind, the usual whispers, the canyon. No. He looked around, his breath fogging in the cold air. That sounded like a kid. Then I heard it too. A child's voice, thin and distant, singing something I couldn't quite make out. A nursery rhyme, maybe. But the melody was wrong, off-key, almost mocking. Hello, Jake called out. Is someone there? Are you lost? The singing stopped. For a moment, there was nothing but silence, not even the wind. Then, from somewhere to our left, we heard it clearly. Come find me. We exchanged glances. This wasn't protocol, but if there was a child out here, separated from their group, we had to check. Jake radioed the other teams to let them know we were investigating a possible secondary victim, and we headed toward the voice. The trees grew denser as we moved off trail. My flashlight beam bounced off twisted branches that seemed to reach toward us like gnarled fingers. The singing started again, closer now, and I could finally make out the words. Run around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. But the last line was drawn out, distorted, like a tape playing at the wrong speed. There, Jake pointed ahead. Standing in a small clearing, maybe 30 feet away, was a little girl. She looked about 7 or 8, wearing a dirty white dress that hung loosely on her small frame. Her hair was matted and dark, hanging over her face. She was barefoot, in October, at 9,000 feet. Honey, I called out, keeping my voice gentle. Are you lost? We're here to help you. She didn't respond, just stood there, completely still, her head tilted at an unnatural angle. Jake and I approached slowly. As we got closer, I noticed something that made my stomach turn. Her feet weren't dirty. They should have been black with mud and pine needles if she'd been walking out here. But they were clean, impossibly clean. Sweetie, where are your parents? Jake asked. That's when she looked up. Her face. God, her face was all wrong. The features were there, eyes, nose, mouth, but they didn't quite line up. Like someone had drawn a child's face from memory, but gotten the proportions slightly off. And her eyes, they were too large, too dark, reflecting our flashlight beams like an animal's. She smiled. Too wide, too many teeth. I've been waiting for you, Marcus. she said. I felt my blood freeze. I'd never told her my name. Jake grabbed my arm, pulling me back. We need to go. Now. His voice was shaking Jake, who'd faced down bears and pulled people from avalanches without flinching. The girl took a step toward us, then another, but she wasn't walking. She was gliding, her feet not quite touching the ground. "Don't you want to find David?" she asked, her voice echoing strangely, like it was coming from multiple directions at once. "He's with the others, down in the deep places, where the whispers come from." Jake and I ran. We crashed through the underbrush, branches tearing at our clothes, our radios forgotten. Behind us, I could hear her laughing, a sound like wind chimes made of broken glass. We made it back to the trail, gasping for breath. The other teams were already there, gathering at the trailhead. They'd found David. He was sitting on a boulder, wrapped in an emergency blanket, looking dazed but unharmed. When we asked him what happened, he said he'd gotten disoriented and spent the night in a shallow cave about a mile up the trail. Exposure, mild dehydration, nothing serious. But when I asked if he'd seen or heard anyone else on the mountain, specifically a little girl, his face went white. "How did you know about her?" he whispered. "She came to me in the cave, kept asking me to follow her deeper into the mountain. I told her no, that I'd wait for rescue. She got angry, started screaming. But the weird thing was, when she screamed, the sound came from inside my head, not from her mouth." Later, I did some research. In 1952, a family of 3, mother, father, and 8-year-old daughter, went missing on that trail. They found the parents' bodies 3 weeks later at the bottom of a ravine. They never found the girl. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. When I looked at the old missing person photo, the girl was wearing a white dress, and her name was tagged on the back of the photograph. Emily Chun. Chun, like my last name. I checked my family tree. My great-uncle had a daughter who went missing in Colorado in the 50s. I'd never known about her. I've never gone back to that trail. And whenever I hear whine through the trees now, I walk the other way. Because sometimes, late at night, I still hear her voice calling my name. And I know that one day, she's going to keep calling until I answer. My name is Sarah Martinez, and I was a SAR coordinator in the Pacific Northwest for 6 years. What I'm about to tell you is why I quit. It's why I moved to Arizona, as far from thick forests as I could get. There's a protocol we had, an unofficial one that was never written down, never officially acknowledged. We called it the cabin protocol. And if you ever go hiking in the Cascade Mountains and you see an old cabin with a red door, keep walking. Don't look in the windows. Don't knock. And for God's sake, don't go inside. It was late November 2020. A college student named Ethan Brooks had gone on a solo backpacking trip and missed his check-in time. His roommate waited 12 hours before calling it in. Protocol says wait 24, but something told him not to wait that long. Good instinct. We headed out the next morning, a team of 5. The weather was deteriorating fast, freezing rain, visibility dropping by the hour. We had maybe 6 hours of searchable daylight left. Ethan's planned route took him through some of the oldest growth forest in the state. Trees so massive and tall that even at noon, the forest floor stays in perpetual twilight. Cell service is non-existent. It's beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. We found Ethan's campsite around 2 p.m. His tent was still there, properly staked, no signs of struggle. His pack was inside, food sealed in a bear canister, everything organized. But his sleeping bag was missing, along with Ethan himself. "He left in a hurry," noted Tom, our tracker. "Look at the footprints." The prints led away from the camp in a straight line, heading directly off trail into the deep woods. They were deep, erratic, like he'd been running. But here's what was weird. They were only his footprints. Nothing chasing him. He'd just run. We followed the trail for over an hour, the prints getting more frantic, until we came to a clearing I'd never seen before despite dozens of missions in this area. And there it was. An old cabin, probably Depression era, logs weathered to the color of charcoal. Single window, stone chimney, and a door painted bright, arterial red. I felt my stomach drop. "No," I whispered. "What?" asked Lucy, our newest volunteer. The senior members of the team had stopped walking. We all just stared at that red door. "Sarah," Tom's voice was tight. "Is this?" "Yeah," I said. "It's one of them." Lucy looked between us, confused. One of what? I'd heard the stories since my first month on the job. There are 3 cabins scattered throughout the Cascades, all abandoned, all with red doors. No one knows who built them or when. They're not on any maps. They appear and disappear. Search teams have GPS coordinates that lead to empty clearings. Then years later, someone finds a cabin in that exact spot. The unofficial rule: if you find a red door cabin, you mark the location, you back away, and you don't tell the victim's family you found it. Because anyone who goes inside doesn't come back the same, if they come back at all. Ethan's footprints go right to the door, Tom said quietly. He might be inside. We stood there in the freezing rain, our breaths fogging the air. Lucy started forward. "Then we need to check." "No." I grab her arm. "You don't understand. There's a reason for the protocol." "Screw the protocol," she snapped. "There's a person in there who might be injured, hypothermic. Or worse," muttered Jake, one of the other veterans. But Lucy was already walking toward the cabin. I'm not leaving someone to die because of a stupid superstition. We couldn't let her go alone. The 5 of us approached the red door. Up close, I could see it wasn't paint. The door had been stained, maybe with... I didn't want to think about it. Tom reached for the handle. It opened with a soft creak. The interior was impossibly large. The cabin was maybe 12 feet square on the outside, but inside, it stretched back into darkness far beyond what the dimensions should allow. A single oil lamp burned on a table, casting long shadows across rough wooden floorboards. And sitting at the table, his back to us, was Ethan. "Ethan," Lucy called out. "Ethan Brooks." He didn't move, didn't turn around. We stepped inside. That was our first mistake. The door swung shut behind us. Tom tried the handle. It wouldn't budge. "Ethan, we're search and rescue," I said, moving closer. "Your roommate is worried. Let's get you out of here." That's when he spoke, still not turning around. "But I like it here. It's quiet. No one asks me questions. No one expects anything." His voice sounded flat, empty. "We need to leave, Ethan. Now." Tom's hand was on his radio, but static was all that came through. "I can't leave," Ethan said. "She won't let me." "Who won't?" I started to ask. Then I saw her. In the darkness at the back of the cabin, something moved. At first, I thought it was a person, a woman in a long dress. But as she stepped into the lamplight, I realized her proportions were all wrong. Too tall, maybe 7 feet, with arms that hung down past her knees. Her face was covered by a dark veil, but I could see her smile underneath, too wide, stretching from ear to ear. "More visitors," she said, her voice like dead leaves rustling. "How wonderful. It's been so long since I've had company. Stay. Stay forever. It's so much easier than out there, isn't it? No pain. No fear. Just peace." Lucy screamed. The sound seemed to be absorbed by the walls, muffled, dying. Jake charged the door, slamming his shoulder into it. Nothing. Tom joined him. The wood didn't even crack. The woman glided closer. "Why do you fight? You came here seeking. I provide answers. I provide rest. Eternal, perfect rest. That's when Ethan finally turned around. His eyes were completely black, not just the pupils, but the entire eye, including the whites. And he was still smiling that terrible, empty smile. "Stay with us, Sarah," he said. "Stay with us, Lucy. Stay with us, Tom. Stay with us, Jake. Stay with us." I don't remember how we got out. One moment, we were trapped in that impossible cabin, with that thing reaching for us with those two long arms. And the next, we were standing in the clearing, gasping, shaking. The cabin was gone, just trees and rain. But Ethan was there, unconscious on the ground, his lips blue with cold. We carried him out. He spent 2 weeks in the hospital with severe hypothermia and dehydration. When he woke up, he didn't remember anything about the cabin. Said he'd gotten lost, taken shelter in a cave, blacked out. The doctors said the memory loss was from the trauma and exposure. But I knew better. Here's what made me quit. 2 weeks after we brought Ethan out, Lucy didn't show up for a scheduled training. We went to her apartment, found her at her kitchen table, just sitting there, staring at the wall, smiling. She wouldn't respond to us, wouldn't blink, just sat there with that empty smile. The paramedics took her away. Catatonic state, they said. She's still in a facility now, 3 years later, still smiling. Tom and Jake quit the same day I did. We don't talk about what we saw. We don't discuss the cabin. But sometimes, late at night, I dream I'm back in those woods, and I see dozens of red doors, all standing alone between the trees, all of them slowly opening. And behind each one, that woman is waiting, her arms outstretched, inviting me to stay forever. My name is David Park, and I need to tell you about something we find in the woods. Something we're specifically trained not to talk about. I'm breaking protocol by sharing this, and I'll probably lose my job if anyone traces this back to me. But people need to know. People need to understand that there are things in the wilderness that don't follow the rules of our reality. Things that have been there long before we started mapping trails and marking territories. If you're ever deep in the woods, and I mean really deep, hours from any trail, and you see a staircase, just standing there, leading up to nothing, walk away. Don't touch it. Don't climb it. Don't even look at it for too long. Just walk away. This happened during my second year with SAR, in the spring of 2018, in the Appalachian wilderness of West Virginia. We got a call about a missing hiker, a 29-year-old woman named Rebecca who'd gone for a day hike and never returned. Her car was still at the trailhead, keys locked inside, which was strange. No one locks their keys in their car before a hike. The search started at dawn. 12 of us spread out in a grid pattern, working methodically through dense forest that hadn't seen a trail crew in decades. This was old woods, the kind where the trees grow so close together. You have to turn sideways to squeeze between them, where the canopy is so thick that rain from last week still hasn't hit the ground. I was about 3 miles in when I saw it, a staircase, just standing there in the middle of the forest. It was made of ornate wrought iron, the kind you'd see leading up to an old Victorian mansion, maybe 15 steps leading up to nothing. No building, no platform at the top, just stairs ascending into empty air. My first thought was that it was part of an old homestead, that the house had rotted away, and somehow the stairs remained. But that didn't make sense. The forest floor around it was undisturbed, thick with decades of leaf litter. And the stairs weren't rusty or weathered. They looked new, recently polished, even. I radioed it in. Found something weird. Old staircase, middle of nowhere, no structure attached. There was a long pause. Then my supervisor, Frank, a man who'd been doing SAR for 30 years, came on the radio, his voice tight. "David, describe exactly what you're seeing." I did. Another pause. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. Mark the location on your GPS and move on with the search. Do you understand? Frank, what? Do you understand? The urgency in his voice made my skin prickle. Yeah, I understand. But I didn't move on. I should have, but I didn't. I stood there, staring at that staircase, and I felt this overwhelming urge to climb it, just to see, just to understand. I took a step closer. The temperature dropped immediately. I could see my breath suddenly fogging the air, even though it was 65 degrees and sunny in the rest of the forest. "Hello," a voice called out. I spun around. Standing about 20 feet away, partially hidden behind a massive oak tree, was Rebecca. She was wearing the same clothes described in the missing person report: blue jacket, black leggings, hiking boots. "Rebecca," I called out. "Are you all right?" She stepped into view, and my relief at finding her alive evaporated instantly. Something was wrong. The way she moved was too smooth, too fluid, like she was floating slightly above the ground. And her eyes, they were focused not on me, but on the staircase behind me. "You can see it," she said, more a statement than a question. "Not everyone can. Only certain people. I've been watching others walk right past it like it's not even there." "See what?" "The stairs." She nodded, still not looking at me. "They've been calling to me. For 3 days now. Ever since I found them. I can't leave. Every time I try to walk away, I end up right back here." "Rebecca, we need to get you out of." "Did you know there are 14 steps?" She interrupted. "I've counted them maybe 1,000 times. 14 steps. 13 would make sense, unlucky 13. But 14? What's significant about 14? I keep my radio. I found Rebecca, but we have a situation. Static. Just static. I'm going to climb them," Rebecca said suddenly. "No." I moved between her and the staircase. "Rebecca, listen to me. We need to leave. Right now." She finally looked at me, and I saw that her eyes were bloodshot, with dark circles underneath. She looked exhausted, haunted. "I have to know," she whispered. "I have to know what's at the top. It's been 3 days, David. 3 days of circling, of trying to leave, of that pull growing stronger and stronger. I can't fight it anymore." "How do you know my name?" I felt ice in my veins. I hadn't told her. She smiled sadly. "They told me. The things that live at the top. They know everything about everyone who sees the stairs. They've been whispering about you since you arrived. They're excited. They haven't had a climber in so long." Before I could stop her, Rebecca darted past me and started climbing the stairs. Her footsteps on the iron steps made no sound. I could see her climbing, but my ears registered nothing. "Rebecca, stop." I grabbed for her ankle when she was on the 3rd step. My hand passed through her leg like she was made of smoke. She kept climbing. 4th step, 5th, 6th. On the 7th step, she flickered. There one moment, translucent the next, like she was phasing between realities. 8th step, 9th. She was barely visible now, like an old photograph fading in the sun. On the 10th step, she stopped and turned around. I could see through her now, see the trees behind her through her. She opened her mouth to say something, and then they appeared. Hands, dozens of them, hundreds maybe, reaching up through the stairs themselves. Pale, translucent hands with too many fingers, grabbing at Rebecca's legs, her waist, her arms. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. The hands pulled her down into the stairs, not through them, into them. Like the stairs were made of liquid, and she was sinking. In seconds, she was gone. The staircase stood empty, innocent, almost inviting in the dappled sunlight filtering through the trees. I ran. I ran until my lungs burned, until I crashed through brush and fell twice over hidden roots, until I burst out onto the trail where the rest of my team was gathering. Frank took one look at my face and knew. You saw the stairs. I nodded, gasping for breath. And the missing person? She climbed them. Frank closed his eyes and swore quietly. All right, official report. No sign of Rebecca in your sector. Search continues. Understood. Frank, we can't do anything. He cut me off. This is bigger than us. Older than us. We mark it. We document it in the private files. And we move on. That's the job. We searched for Rebecca for another 4 days. Never found a trace. Eventually, it was ruled a missing person case, likely victim of wildlife or exposure. Her family held a memorial. I attended, guilt eating me alive. But here's the thing that keeps me awake. A week after Rebecca disappeared, another staircase was reported. Different park, different state. Same design, same 14 steps. And then another one, and another. I started looking into the private files Frank mentioned, the ones kept off the books. There are hundreds of these staircases, all over North America, probably all over the world. Different styles, wrought iron, marble, wood, stone, but always out of place, always leading nowhere, always in the deep wilderness. And there are thousands of people who've gone missing after encounters with them. The files have testimonies from other SAR members, dating back to the 1950s. Always the same story. Person finds stairs, person becomes obsessed, person climbs them, person vanishes. We can't destroy them. They've tried. Explosives, cutting torches, sledgehammers. Nothing leaves so much as a scratch. And when you try to tear them down, more appear. It's like the act of attacking them multiplies them. Last month, I was hiking on my day off. Personal trail, one I've walked 100 times. And there, on a section I'd passed through just a week before, was a staircase. This one was different. It was made of weathered wood, and carved into each step, burned into the wood, was a name. 14 names. 14 steps. The 7th step had Rebecca burned into it. The 14th step, the top step, was blank. Waiting. I haven't gone back to that trail. I haven't told Frank. Because I know what it means. The stairs have marked me. I saw them. I witnessed what they do. I'm connected now. Sometimes, late at night, I dream I'm climbing those stairs. I can feel the wood under my feet, rough and warm, almost alive. I count as I climb. 1, 2, 3. And I know that when I reach 14, something will be waiting for me at the top. Something ancient and hungry. I wake up in a cold sweat, tangled in my sheets, and for just a moment, I can still feel myself climbing. One day, I'm afraid I won't wake up. One day, I think those stairs will call me home. And the worst part, deep down, in a place I don't want to acknowledge, part of me wants to go. Part of me wants to climb them, just to finally understand, just to finally know what waits at the top. So if you're ever deep in the woods and you see a staircase standing alone, don't climb it. Don't even look at it. Because once it knows you can see it, it will never stop calling your name. And eventually, we all answer. These are the stories that keep search and rescue members awake at night. The ones we're not supposed to tell. If you found this video disturbing, good. Because these places are real. These protocols exist for a reason. The wilderness holds secrets we're not meant to uncover. Drop a comment below if you've ever experienced anything strange in the woods. And if you have, maybe don't go back. Subscribe for more true horror stories that will make you think twice before going off trail. And remember, not all who wander are lost, but some are lost forever.